Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to Retro Pop Planet and welcome back to a special holiday themed episode. Can you believe that this year marks the 30th anniversary of Home Alone 2? So clearly we're not in New York City, we're actually in my home studio, but it doesn't really feel like New York. Okay, now it does. Most of this video that I shot was shot on location in 2021. I didn't get it out and then I realized that I actually missed a few locations, and then we were just up in town about 2 weeks ago and I got some more pickup shots. So you'll notice that when I was there last year, temperatures in December were unseasonably high. They were in the 60s, and then when we were back 2 weeks ago, it was in the 20s. So a couple things to note about the movie. Most of the film was shot on location in New York City with a bunch of exceptions. The McAllister home is in Illinois outside of Chicago. Duncan's toy chest, the front-facing exterior of the store, is actually a building in downtown Chicago. The brownstone where Kevin's uncle lives in New York, it's actually not in New York. It's in a studio backlot in LA. There is no room 411 at the plaza. Also, the covered archway in Central Park is based on a real location, and we're gonna show you that in this video. However, most of that was actually filmed as part of a set. And the best part about the video is how ludicrous it really is for a little boy like Kevin McAllister, lost in New York City, to be traveling the extent of Manhattan as he did. Because as real life adults, in order to track the course of this movie and all the different shooting locations, Kevin would have done like 13 or 14 miles of walking and a combination of metro and taxis, which is what we had to do. And one day alone, we ended up walking 13 miles through Manhattan and we were exhausted. And Kevin covers those distances in a matter of minutes on foot. But that's what makes the movie fun. While we're in New York City, we're also not going to LaGuardia Airport, and we're also not going to the bridge that he crosses to get into Manhattan. But otherwise, everywhere that we traveled are all the locations that were shot in New York City, in downtown Manhattan, and we go to each and every one of them. So interestingly enough, I actually have a bit of an indirect connection to this movie. Back in 2001, I had just started my first ever career job. We hosted a conference in Chicago, and there was a lady who was working as a temp, helping us with some of our conference registration. And we got to talking about Chicago, and I don't know how we got on the subject of John Hughes movies, but she informed me that she actually lived in the neighborhood where they filmed Home Alone 1 and 2. I'm not sure exactly which house in the movie, but she gave me a lot of behind the scenes info, which I found pretty fascinating. For example, she told me that homes that were indirect shots, if they were actually using them that day, the homeowners were actually getting a cut, something in the neighborhood of like $100 to $200 a day, depending on how much they were taking up space in front of the home. This lady I was working with told me that they received a couple $100s because their house was actually featured in a few shots. And I know there is a lot of discrepancy regarding the interiors of the McAllister home. Most of it was filmed on a set, possibly at the high school that was used in the movie Uncle Buck. However, she did inform me that a lot of it was actually filmed in the house. I believe probably in the foyer area, because apparently the production crew painted and wallpapered and moved in furniture and actually had to move the owner's furniture into a separate room. And because in Home Alone 1, filming was delayed or extended by a couple weeks because they couldn't get it cold enough to actually make that fake snow, that the family that lived there at the time got sent on a cruise or something like that. So none of this is confirmed. This is all just hearsay, and this is what she told me as someone who lived in the neighborhood. And when she's conveying this info to me, the movie was only 11 years old, so I would actually trust her more than a lot of random Reddit threads. Another interesting thing is I was in New York City for a work conference in 2010. A couple of my friends came up to visit me and my brother, and we went to see an exclusive engagement for the Pee Wee Herman show, which was an off-Broadway production for like 2 months, and it was Paul Rubens and the entire cast of Pee-wee's Playhouse. Super fun show, but right before the show, I stepped back in the street using my old broken down digital camera, and I snapped a couple photos of the sign, the giant Paul Rubens as Pee Wee Herman sign. And some guy in one of my photos literally ruined my photo by walking right in front of the camera. I was a little annoyed, but it wasn't until hours later when we were at a bar I actually saw who it was. And interestingly enough, my brother actually met Macaulay Culkin shortly after because he was up at Will Call along with Seth Green and Mila Kunis. And we had been joking the entire weekend about Home Alone, and we had loosely gone to a couple of locations then, even though this is long before I had started doing this stuff on YouTube. So let's get to the 1992 film locations in downtown Manhattan of Home Alone 2.
Just a boy, Christmas brought so much joy. Couldn't wait for the presents and laughter. I couldn't sleep late at night, looking for Santa with lights. Those are the memories I still remember. Then I became a man, lost sight of who I am. But right in front of me was the answer. On Christmas I feel joy.
We're the Sticky Bandits.
Walking down the street. Hey, hey, hey. I'm the king of the cool guy. Get out of here, you nosy little pervert, or I'm gonna slap you silly. Oh, now you're cooking, Frankie.
Okay guys, welcome back. Thanks for joining me on this little adventure. This was a really fun one to shoot, and I hope you liked some of the goofier aspects of the video. Let me know what you think in the form of a comment. Please like, please subscribe, and I will catch you guys on the next one. Have a safe and happy holidays. See ya.